guys, and welcome back to Reading Club. Today I'm going to read you Franny K.stein, Mad Scientist, Lunch Walks Among Us, Chapter 9 to Chapter 12. Chapter 9, Lunch Doesn't Agree with Me. The next day at school, while the kids were doing their math problems, Miss Shelley took Franny over to one side and talked to her. "How's the experiment going?" she asked. "It's great. I understand them, and I think we're becoming friends. They seem to like me better if I just go along with the things they like." "Are you sure that's for the best?" Miss Shelley asked. "Well, that's what the data seem to suggest," Franny said, and showed Miss Shelley some graphs to back it up. "But I like the real you," Miss Shelley was about to continue when a piercing scream tore through the room. "The trash can!" a little girl shrieked. "It's moving!" Franny's mad scientist brain raced. That was the trash can in which she had dumped her crab ravioli and pumpkin sauce 2 days ago. But an old lunch, all by itself, was not enough to start a paranormal reaction. "Who else put something in that can?" Franny said. "I spit out my gum in there," one girl said. "I threw a pair of old gym shoes in there," another boy said. "I saw the janitor dump some trash in there," another girl said. "I get," hissed Franny. "That was close. Well, as long as nobody put any unstable industrial waste in there, we should be fine." "Oh, yeah," said one little boy. "I forgot. I put some unstable industrial waste in there." "Gadzooks," Franny shouted. "That is the exact formula for a giant monstrous fin." The other kids looked at her. They looked scared, not just of the mention of a giant monstrous fin, although the prospect of a giant monstrous fin was no comfort. They were also afraid of Franny. They were looking at her the way they used to before they had become her good friends. "I mean," Franny stammered, "that's what I would think if I was a weird mad scientist type little girl, which, of course, I'm not." They all smiled at her again. Just then, the trash can erupted like a volcano. As the smoke settled, the kids saw for the first time the type of giant monstrous fin that a mad scientist type girl would have predicted. Chapter 10, That's No Jack-o'-lantern. The giant monstrous fin stood there, chewing gum and breathing angrily. Its head was a pumpkin and its body looked like a crab's. It was wearing the old shoes and it was just dripping with industrial waste. Franny hoped it would just jump out of the window and go away, and to her surprise, the pumpkin crab monster jumped out the window and went away. Unfortunately, it grabbed Miss Shelley before it left. With a crash and a scream, the pumpkin crab monster and her teacher was gone. The kids just stood there. They didn't know how to help. A few tried crying. A few tried screaming. One tried wetting his pants, although later on he admitted he had no idea why he thought that might help. Some of Franny's new friends hugged her and shrieked, but Franny didn't shriek. Franny thought. Out the window, the pumpkin crab monster was climbing the flagpole with Miss Shelley. There was no way that Miss Shelley was going to get away from that monster thing. It was holding her tight, and it was climbing higher and higher. Franny looked at her friends. She really liked them, and she was happy they liked her. She had hoped they would always be her friends, but still she knew what she had to do. Franny reached into her backpack and pulled out a vial. It said antidote on it. "Guy," she says gently, "if you all get your lunches, I think I know what we might be able to do." The kids ignored her. They just ran around in little circles, getting more and more scared and confused. "Guys, really, I think I know what we need." Franny spoke a little louder this time, but they still ignored her. "We need a fireman," one girl said. "We need a superhero," one boy said. "We need dry pants," said you-know-who. Franny stood up outside. Lightning cracked. "What we need," she says, "is a mad scientist, which I am." She uncorked the antidote and drank it. She began to cough and splutter and spit. She fell on the ground and scrunched down in a little ball. She stood up and felt herself return to normal. Franny, the little girl mad scientist, was back. Chapter 11, It's Mad Science Time. Franny looked at the kids. They looked even more afraid of her now than they ever had before. She thought about trying to be sweet or less scary, but that just wasn't going to get things done. Do as I command, she says in her most scary mad scientist voice. Go get your lunches. The kids stopped running in circles and ran to get their lunches. Mad scientists, even when they're only 4 feet tall, can be very persuasive. Put the bread in one pile and the lunch meat in other, she barked. The kids did as they were told and quickly disassembled their sandwiches. Finally, Franny was busy examining the bottom of the trash can. I think there's just enough of this unstable and industrial waste left to do the trick. Franny worked fast. She told the kids exactly how to arrange the lunch meat and how to get the bread ready. They were afraid, but they did what she said, and they did it quickly. Being the only mad scientist around, she was the expert on unstable industrial waste, so she took care of that personally. Then Franny pulled a needle and thread from her backpack. This will require absolute silence, she said, and the kids watched her begin stitching the lunch meat together. Franny worked quickly as the kids watched in terror, occasionally handing her additional slices of salami or Malogana, which she so instructed. They knew they were watching something not of this world, something that no human eyes had ever seen before. And in that moment, the pants wetter decided to let loose one more time. Chapter 12, Ham I Am. Finally, Franny walked solemnly across the room and washed snips of ham and smears of mustard off her hands in the sink. She sighed a deep, satisfied sigh and turned to gaze on her creation. There, standing motionless in the middle of the classroom, was a giant monster thing made entirely of glistening, delicious bologna, salami, pickle loaf, and ham. The time had come to provide this creature with the awesome power source it would need to come alive. Franny grasped its salami nose and slid 2 batteries up its nostrils. Awaken, she commanded. The creature's eyes slowly opened. It growled and looked at Franny. The kids clung to one another in fear. The flagpole, Franny ordered as the creature began walking stiffly toward the wall. With a mighty punch, it smashed its way through and headed outside. Bread, Franny yelled, and the kids, following Franny's plan, began pushing the pile of bread over to the base of the flagpole. The lunch meat creature grabbed the pole and shook it. Miss Shelley screamed, and the kids gasped. Shake harder, Franny commanded. The lunch meat creature shook and shook until finally the pumpkin crab monster dropped Miss Shelley. That's the end of this channel. If you liked it, please click many likes and subscribe Reading Club. Bye, everybody, and I'll see you later with a new channel.